Most people do not realize that they live half asleep. They wake, they work, they speak, they even love. Yet beneath every gesture moves an invisible current of suggestion. The world whispers what to want, whom to trust, what to fear, and without knowing, we obey. We call it personality, ambition, taste. But what if it is hypnosis? What if the crowd's dream has taken root in your nervous system, shaping every thought you call your own? There is a kind of sleep that feels like being awake. You can reason, build, invent, even argue about freedom, yet never taste it. You imitate emotion instead of feeling it. You respond instead of acting. And when someone challenges the illusion, you defend it as if defending your life. That defense is the first sign you are under a spell. Humanity has always been suggestible. A salesman flatters your taste and you buy. A politician stirs your fear and you march. A lover praises you and you surrender. The hypnotist's trick is ancient. Bypass the watcher within you. Speak directly to the feeling self, and plant a thought that grows like ivy around the will. Most people never notice. They call it culture. But something within you remembers. It senses the falseness of imitation. It feels the exhaustion of living from reaction. It wants to wake up. Not in another ideology, not in rebellion, but in simple awareness. The birth of that awareness is the beginning of spiritual life. It is the rediscovery of the I am, hidden beneath the 1,000 eyes that the world has named for you. Awakening begins in stillness, not in doing, but in seeing. When you see your thoughts without judging them, the hypnotic chain begins to weaken. The suggestions lose voltage because your attention no longer feeds them. That silent seeing is not your mind. It is the light behind it, the observer that was never hypnotized. Imagine a mirror covered in dust. Every emotion of resentment, every indulgence, every false excitement adds another layer. We polish the mirror by accident, a moment of truth, a pang of conscience, a flash of humility, and suddenly light passes through. For an instant, we remember who we are. But then pride rushes back with its noise, its need to control, its endless justifications. Pride cannot bear the light. It hides behind movement. It tells you to try harder, to improve, to fight. Yet the very effort to perfect yourself is the continuation of the trance. The secret power of values is not effort, it is alignment. True values are not learned, they are remembered. They rise naturally when the inner noise is silent. Honesty, patience, courage, humility. These are not moral trophies. They are states of resonance between the human and the divine. They appear when influence ends. The ego, however, is terrified of such stillness. It believes that without striving, it will die. And in a way, it must. The false self depends on friction. It feeds on conflict, opinion, resistance. Without an enemy, it starves. So it creates them endlessly. Religions versus religions, classes versus classes, self versus world. Every division is hypnosis repeating itself through human voices. Look around and you will see entire nations under suggestion. Mass media is merely modern sorcery, images repeated until emotion becomes obedience. The hypnotized will swear they are free while parroting every slogan. They cannot see the trance because they are the trance. You cannot explain their blindness. Awareness cannot be taught to the asleep. It must be caught, like fire from one flame to another. That is why a truly awake person can change a room without speaking. Their stillness reveals the motion in others. People grow nervous under that gaze, not because of judgment, but because something hidden in them begins to stir. The unconscious meets its own reflection and trembles. To wake up is not comfortable. The body remembers its habits, the mind resists exposure. When light enters, it burns. You will feel guilt without knowing why. You will want to run back to noise, to coffee, to television, to the familiar rhythm of distraction. The ego calls this safety, but it is only the comfort of the cage. Endure that fire, sit still, Watch the restlessness as if watching weather. Do not interfere. Soon you will sense a second intelligence behind the mind, quiet, effortless, immense. It does not argue with darkness. It dissolves it. Through that awareness, you begin to act without reaction. You say no without hatred, yes without craving. Influence passes through you without landing. That is freedom. Most people mistake emotion for conscience. They confuse excitement with inspiration. But conscience has no drama. It is still as morning light. When you listen to it, decisions become simple, not easy. Simple because truth is always one. Hard because the world mocks those who obey it. Yet in that obedience lies authority, not the authority of domination, but of presence. The quiet soul carries a power greater than armies because it cannot be possessed. Every conflict on earth is the outer echo of inner hypnosis. The tyrant is merely the loudest ego. He too is hypnotized by power, unable to stop conquering even as it destroys him. And the crowd follows, hypnotized by fear, calling slavery loyalty. Evil and ignorance feed each other until someone in their midst refuses to hate. The moment even one human stands inwardly free, the spell begins to break. Part 4. Freedom is not rebellion. Rebellion still depends on the thing it opposes. True freedom is independence of influence itself. It is the strength to act from the silent center, regardless of praise or blame. When you cease reacting to suggestion, even the subtle suggestion of memory, something new guides you. Call it the divine current, the light of awareness, the presence. Words fail, but its effect does not. Clarity replaces confusion. Gentleness replaces compulsion. Love replaces control. Love, as the world uses it, is often another hypnosis, a trade of need and flattery. Real love has no object. It is the radiance that appears when self is forgotten. It forgives because it understands, not because it tries. It transforms because it sees truly, not because it preaches. When that love moves through you, even enemies begin to reveal their humanity. You no longer battle people. You expose the shadow that manipulates them. This is the secret power of values. They are not rules, but radiations. Integrity, patience, courage, mercy. These are frequencies of consciousness. The higher the awareness, the finer the value expressed. When the observer within you reigns, those values act through you without effort. You become a channel rather than a performer. The more you let go, the more life acts wisely through you. To live awake is to live between two worlds, the outer world of noise and the inner world of silence. One seduces, the other invites. One promises excitement, the other delivers peace. The test of spiritual maturity is where you place your loyalty. Do you chase sensations, or do you serve the still light that asks for nothing? Eventually you realize you are not two selves, not the ego watching the soul, but one awareness learning to remember itself. The war ends when the watcher and the watched reunite. The I dissolves into the I am. In that union there is no fear, no competition, no hypnotist left to obey. You are, simply. And from that simple being, all right action flows. The world will not understand this. It will call you detached, strange, perhaps arrogant. But silently, it will feel something. The hypnotized recognize freedom the way night recognizes dawn, with resistance, then surrender. Your task is not to convert, only to remain awake. The light will do the rest. As the noise of civilization grows, so does the need for quiet souls. Each awakened mind weakens the collective trance. Each act of forgiveness rewrites the script of history. Every moment you choose awareness over reaction, you shift the balance of the invisible war. That is how the world is redeemed, not by slogans, but by presence. So begin now. Sit, breathe, feel the pulse beneath your skin. Watch the mind without agreeing or resisting. Notice how it tries to entertain, accuse, justify. Let it. Behind it, something timeless watches. The same awareness that watched you as a child, before fear learned your name. That watcher is your true self. It cannot be hypnotized, for it was never asleep. Return to it often. Protect nothing. Pretend nothing. Just be still. The light will polish the mirror by itself. When you no longer seek to shine, you will illuminate everything around you. And others, seeing that calm, will remember their own. That is the secret power of values. The power to be awake in a sleeping world.